Are you ready? Let's go. Are you ready? Let's go.
What up, everybody? What's good? What's cracking with you? You already know what time it is. It's your boy, Sports Dad, and the crowd goes wild. What's happening with you? Hey, listen, we're going to jump right into it. I got a wonderful, wonderful show for you today. Oh, my God. And check this out. We need it, especially after witnessing what we witnessed on this week politically. So hopefully this segment lift your spirits a little bit. But in this segment, we're going to be talking about the importance of making sure that you're choosing and doing the research, making sure that you're choosing the right high school for your kid, for your child, for your young athlete, and make sure that they're in the right hands. And boy, and check this out. I got some friends that's coming on with me. I had to go back in the day and pull a few guys on actually that I hooped with back in the day. And I figured what better way to actually have this conversation with these guys, because we all kind of experienced the same thing with some minor differences, but it's good that you hear all aspects for everyone from different perspectives. So without any further ado, I'm gonna bring these guys on real quick. Let me bring this guy on. There go my boy Joe. What up?
What's going on?
What's happening, guys? Y'all good? Again, what's up? Hey, so check it out. What you say, Ryan?
I'm here.
There you go. Mallet, where you at?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. But I can't see you. He left out. So check this out. If you're watching this as well, guys, make sure you turn down the volume because it's a huge echo. All right. Y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Where boy Mallet at?
I don't know where Mallet is. Here you go. All right. Why am I hearing the echo? Is anybody watching this? Are you guys have a separate device with the YouTube channel on, watching it as well? Because if so, you got to turn that down, or else it's going to keep echoing. All right, I see Mallet. But I don't see his face.
And maybe if we mute our mics, we can hear each other. Just open it up when we're gonna talk.
Okay, that works. Actually, it doesn't.
Well, everybody's mic wasn't muted. Check that out. You can see when people's mics are muted. So everybody mute their mic except for Cephas, and let Cephas talk for a moment and see if it stops the echoing.
Mic 2, check. Okay, y'all can still hear me, right? All right, cool. That's a little weird because we normally didn't have to do that before. But anyway, we moving on. But thanks for stepping up. Thanks for coming on the show, guys. Want to talk to you guys. Just want to come online and kick it, man. And of course, I'm doing this. Doing this particular channel about the recruiting thing, letting everybody know from a player, coaches, and parent perspective, just trying to educate everybody about the recruiting process. More so with basketball, more so with football and basketball specifically. And so I've been taking a deep dive into basketball lately, talking about AAU and talking about high schools and how important it is, and things like that. So, but these are all guys that we, I played basketball with. I think Joe got me by a couple years.
I ain't that old now. Only a year. You was a 99. I was a 98. Don't start.
It just seemed like that because you were so big. Yeah. So let's talk about it, fellas. Like, I'll just go ahead and just start it off, and thanks for coming on. And we want to, and don't hold nothing back, by no means necessary. Don't hold anything back, whatever you feel, and let's talk about it. But so we all attended Osborne High School, and I'll tell you guys why I chose Osborne High School. Osborne, first of all, great place. Met some wonderful, wonderful people. The people was, excellent, A100. But from my perspective, I had a bad coaching experience, and and I'm not shy about sharing that because there are kids that are growing up, whether they have a father or not, but they are running into those same scenarios, with those same terrible bad coaching experiences. So I thought it would be advantageous if I shared it. But I originally went to Osborne. I chose Osborne because I didn't want to go to a Persian where it was already packed out at, or a Denby where the talent was just, everybody trying to go there or whatnot, because, those were some, talented, powerhouses, whatnot, for lack of better words. But I came to the Bourne because I knew it would be an opportunity. But at the same time, I didn't understand, like, what type of situation I was going into from an athletic standpoint. And so, I didn't have the best experience. I'll just keep it real. I think, we went through a couple coaches while I was there. One coach, and then we went through another coach. Then the other coach ended up coming back. It was just really inconsistent. And then from my experience with the coaches, I felt like it was never a situation where we were on the same page or where he was trying to work with me, but I felt he was working against me. And so, so that's my particular experience with, and I'll go a little bit more into it, but I'll open up the floor at this time. Then, we'll start with you, Joe. We'll start with you, man.
Well, my experience was a little different than everybody else. Osborne was not my first choice. In all actuality, Kettering was the first choice. Kind of like you said, thinking about talent and everything. My AAU team, we was all supposed to go to Kettering. So the kids that I played with, AAU, so the 17 of us was supposed to all go to Kettering, thinking that we was going to run the PSL because we had already been playing together.
Right.
But we were afforded an opportunity three of us, because we were academically sound, the three of us, we was afforded the opportunity to go to Cass Tech. So my plan changed from Kettering to Cass Tech. So I attended Cass Tech freshman year. I hated Cass. I did. The coaches there, I mean, the coaches just was not my cup of tea. I didn't like them as individuals.
Oh, okay.
They demeaned a lot of players there, and they treated people a certain way because it was Cass Tech. It's like, dude, you're going to Cass Tech.
Right.
You know, you're a technician. You're going to be a certain way. And if you weren't that way, they just, you know, and I'm like, dude, this is high school. You know, this is not college, NBA, nothing. It's high school. Like,
right.
No. I actually saw them cuss out a player because he was 6'10" playing JV and wouldn't turn around and dunk on nobody. And they called him out his name and everything on the court. And I'm like, this is not the school for me.
Wow.
So wound up leaving Cass and coming to the Bourne. Buford, I had played with middle school when I transferred from Illinois to Detroit. I mean, when I came from Illinois to Michigan, I went to Barbara. So me and Buford knew each other. Buford was playing at Barbara. You know, he was the man.
Right.
One of the men. I think him and another cat. I can't think of that cat name that had all the hops that was trying to dunk everything he could, but couldn't but nothing but a volleyball. But so I knew Andre already because of that. And you know, got blessed with you guys, but y'all was a year behind us and all that stuff.
Right.
Osborne was totally different. Osborne was totally different. As you said, the coaching staff, their heart was in the right place. They wanted to be. But they weren't like, you know, Rube, Ghost, and all these guys who lived, ate basketball. You know, these guys wanted to give us, wanted to give us an opportunity, but were not well equipped to do it. You know, I mean, it's no different than if you have a father who has an education and a father who doesn't have an education, he can't help his son as well with his homework. Right. As opposed to a father with a PhD who can come in and make sure his son is getting the right education and things of that nature. But I mean, they afforded us certain things. You remember they used to open up the gym and let us come in at 7 o'clock in the morning and work out. Me and Rob Ellsbury.
That was for you. I knew nothing. That was for you.
That was for all of us. You know, me and Rob Ellsbury stayed late and worked out and different things of that nature. So just taking care of certain situations. And I know you said like I had the super friends, but honestly, truthfully, they treated me like a second-class citizen because, you know, I was coming from Osborne. They like, yo, you coming for the Bourne? Like, seriously? Like, who is you? And I took Shane Battier's spot. You know, Shane graduated and left, and they gave me the opportunity to come in. And I remember Coach, he told me, he was like, because, you know, I thought I was the man because, you know, at the Bourne, I played, I did, you know, I got the green light at the Bourne. He told me like, yo, you're not my first option. You're not my second option. You're not my third option. You're not my fourth option. Basically, I was no option. But he told me, Harv told me, he was like, I'm going to simplify the game for you. He was like, you give me one offensive rebound a quarter. That's 2 points. That's eight a game. You get a fast break layup. That's another, you know, 8 points. You averaging 16 a game. And I did that very well for Harv. I mean, he simplified the game. He made it easy, told me what I could do and where I could fit in the system and everything else like that. But
so basically in a nutshell, like you saying that your experience at Osborne was a little bit different from mine from a coaching perspective, right?
I had a lot. I don't know how many coaches you guys had. I had a personal individual coach in Joe T. Robinson. Obviously, you know, wherever I walked in, Cass would be like, man, you huge, man. I know somebody who got got a team going on. So I had a lot of different coaches, a lot of different things that gave me some opportunities to learn different things. And, you know, it's just taking advantage of it. So, you know,
so we're gonna jump into that before we go a little bit further. Dre, I want to hear from you, man. Like, you know, what was your, you know, how did you end up at Osborne, and overall, how was your experience there?
Overall, I would say I wouldn't trade Osborne for the world because it made me the person that I am.
Right.
But when we talk athletically, initially I went to Osborne. I was coming out of Barber. Like I said, Joe and I were pretty good. It was Douglas Rhodes, Jamal Trice, and those guys, Curtis Morrow. There were some ball players. But I had a little spot in there, but they could play.
I remember
but when I got to Osborne, I thought my neighborhood was good. So, I'm at school there, Robert Ellsbury, Cahoop. I'm like, dude, if just the dudes from Albion and the surrounding area, if we all go to the same school, we gonna clean up. So,
right.
so my initial thought was that, but I didn't think about the academics and where everybody stood. So we started dealing with things like ineligibility with certain people and things like that.
Right.
But we also, the thing that probably, the more I reflect on it, because I still have a great relationship with the coach that we had up until my junior year. If you guys remember, I walked away from my senior year, probably the one thing I regret the most. But I didn't have a great coaching experience with that guy. But Joe said we were there at 7 in the morning. We were there late. I don't think those player development opportunities were known to all of us.
Right.
So, and I think if you think about that part of our games, all individually, we could do things special. I could really pass the ball. I was a good setup man. I defended well. C-Town could attack that rack. Mallet could shoot it and jump. Joke play was a big boy. And Ryan was special. I didn't realize how special Ryan was. He was 6'5" and could do it all. And he might sing on the side a little bit. But I think we had the talent there. I think the coach that we all had at the same time, X's and O's, I think he had it.
Right.
If I could critique him, because he's actually a friend of mine as an adult, if I could critique him, I would say he didn't do a great job putting confidence in us.
Correct.
It's hard to play when you feel like you're looking behind your back. If I try to make this basketball play and it doesn't go well, am I going to be coached or am I going to sit down into the third quarter?
Right.
So some of those things were things that it kind of bothered me when I looked at the game. But I also think about just us individually. I think we wanted it, but I don't think we were told how to get it. So like Joe said, the coach told him, get this rebound, do this, do that. Here's your role. If you do it this way, this is where you'll find success. That would have been very helpful for a lot of us.
Right.
But also the confidence to let us know that, hey, you can do these things. I believe that this is what you're good at. And then you go in there and doing it, knowing that the person that's on that bench believes in you. That wasn't always there. There. But I have to say the same thing Joe said. The man himself, if you ever sat and candidly spoke to the man himself was a good man. So, and like I said, when I started coaching, the X's and O's, the things that I coached, and we got a district championship out of it, were the things that I learned in high school. The things that I thought we were missing, I would say to my point guard, hey, make a basketball play. If it's not the right play, you will hear from me, but you're going to get back in the game. So I try to take that. A player is only as good as the coach and the confidence that the coach has in him. So
absolutely.
So those are things that I feel like at times we missed. But as far as my experience as a ball player, I know looking in my mirror myself, there are some things that I could have done better. There are some things if I could do it again, I would change on my own, because I think we all now have the formula of how to be a good team. If we could do it over, we would be a hell of a program. I don't know many programs. We were losing the teams, and we were 6'9", 6'7", 6'5" across the back, with 5'10", 5'11" guards that were dunking in gym in their pants. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we were a lot of talented players, but I think the player development lacked, and I think we fell short when it came in pouring into the young men and make sure that people believed in them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you said some powerful things there, too. And I could tell already I'm gonna be the rebel in this whole conversation, and that's perfectly fine. I'm good with that. But I do agree with you. I do agree with what you said. But before I even speak, though, I'm gonna let my guy Ryan chime in. Ryan, talk to us, man.
What's up, fellas?
What's happening?
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you real good.
Hey man, I really honestly.
Yeah, I can hear you real good.
Oh, okay. Honestly, Joe and Dre, they both made, great points. It was more like we had Coach Carter and we had Coach Blakey, and
Right.
it was more like if you was afraid to do
Right.
something, because it's like if I do this, I'm gonna look over my shoulder and see if I'm gonna get yanked or not. Like, but I don't get me wrong, I love Coach Blakey though. That was my man. But and then actually another point, I was so sad when Joe Veal left because we had no centers ever. After Joe left, we had no centers. I was playing center. Andre Jordan played center. Andre Jordan is a small forward. I'm a small forward. Like, we playing Persian, Finney, Denby. They got 6'10", 6'9", 6'11" guys. Like, we didn't. But as far as my school, I only went to Osborne because that was my neighborhood school. But I loved it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I met some of my best friends there, and I had a ball. I ended up getting a scholarship to go to California. But I think, like I say, Dre and Joe, they made some great points. The coaches, they didn't really, it was more yelling at us and, fussing more than trying to bring something out of us. It was, but I still had a great experience. Like I said, I wouldn't trade it, but your high school makes a big, big difference in where you're going after that. Like, oh, man.
Absolutely.
So, so go ahead, mute your microphone for me, Ryan.
Go ahead, mute your microphone for me, Ryan.
So here's the thing. Character-wise, I do agree. Coach Blakey and Coach Carter was cool people. But from a coaching perspective, I don't think that they, let us be who we were capable of being. You know what I'm saying? Like Dre was saying, like we had the talent. It wasn't a situation with talent if and quiet as it's kept. The reason why we didn't live up to the competition when we played against these teams, it wasn't the fact that we didn't have the talent, because we did, but it was the fact that we weren't allowed to play. And like Ryan was saying, and what I mean by allowed to play, allowed to be who you are. And to me, the essence of coaching is when a player is playing up to their potential. And if a player is not playing up to their potential, that's not coaching. And so we just like Dre said, we had people that could really go, that could put the ball in the bucket. And but what I did find though is that I found that, and this was in my freshman year, that the players, more so we were leaning on each other. I had a guy I never forget, Dre. He pulled me to the side and was just like, "Hey, listen, we was on JV at the time together, but he pulled me to the side and was just like, man, look, you can go, man, you can hoop." He was building me up while I was being torn down by Coach Reynolds. You know what I'm saying? And he was and still pushing me to Coach Reynolds, like, "Coach, Cephas can hoop, he can go. Like, you need to put him in, you need to play him, And when you have a situation like that, that means that something is wrong and something is missing, and you in a situation where possibly coaches are taking out their personal vendettas against you for whatever reason. I have no idea, but that's how it leads us to feel. And then it end up tearing down your confidence. And then next thing you know, it's like a Ryan situation where you're looking over your shoulder, every time you do something because you're wondering if you're going to be yanked, So I kind of felt like if I didn't have guys like Dre, to mentor me, in that situation, like I probably would have left, or I probably would have quit too, and I remember when you walked away too, Dre, but it was a frustrating situation and it wasn't a healthy situation for an athlete. So, and this is why I wanted to talk about it, because, this stuff is still happening today. You can see it. You can see, and I remember, I'll just keep it real with you. Coach Blake told me when I was, on JV, he told me, he said, "I'm going to bring you up." And he said, "I'm going to bring you up to take this guy's spot." And it was Rob Bush's spot. And he was like, "And I just want you to score." So he brought me up and I did that, and after that game, when we played Persian and I had like 20 some points, I guess some of the seniors or whatever was kind of, saying some things or whatever. Then he just tore me down in front of the team. Like, "You not our savior. You not this." And I was never the type of guy that would gloat, and things like that. I just came to deal what I had to do, but he told me, he was like, "You're not our savior. You're not this and you're not that." And I'm like, "What? But you told me that's what." So my comfort level went out the door. So, I just, stuff like that, man. And, I just felt like that whole situation, man, that really bothered me. And when I, fathering my kids and making sure that they put in situations, I tried to guard it as much as I could, but unfortunately, it's still a lot of those guys are still out there, man. So anytime anybody can chime in. Go ahead, Dre.
All right, so I totally agree with some of that. I didn't think about the JV portion of it.
Yeah,
my experience with Coach Reynolds wasn't necessarily great either. I think, like you said, for some reason I felt like they thought the tear down to build up was the way.
Right.
But I also don't think they realized that there's no cookie cut way to pull the best out of people. You know,
Right.
so you and I think the best coaches, the best high school situations when you think about your own kid, whether it be baseball, like I know Joe's kid play baseball, whether it be basketball, my daughter swims, the best coaching situations, you still need that tough love, but you have to be able to build that up, build them up as you're doing that. So
right.
So the part of it where what I think about now when I watch my own kid, he's a solid ball player now. What I watch with him is first the dynamics change. Let me go here. When we were coming up, if you were good or you were 6'10", you got invited to AAU. Right now, you got your pockets good. You can play AAU basketball. You know what I mean? So if you're playing AAU ball, the dynamic is different. You know, if you're getting opportunities and you're getting to travel and you're getting to play, somebody's going to see you regardless of what high school you play for. So the dynamic, it's been a paradigm shift in terms of that. But in terms of making sure your own children or your nephews or your nieces, whatever it is, make sure they have a good experience. I do pay closer attention. I'm in the schools. I work in the schools, so I go to a lot of schools. I watch what the coaches do. And I do think it would shape me in a way, depending on what kind of player my kid is. Some of us have to be real too. Like my kid can play, but I don't think, oh my God, my kid is D1 and I know he's going to be D1 and he won't be 13 for 3 weeks, right? Some people just got it twisted. But
hey, but let me ask you this though, since you're speaking of it, what was Ryan the D1 player?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Do you feel when you were playing, do you feel that you was a D1 player?
I think I was D2 all day.
Okay. All day. So but here's the thing. We had some D1 players, and I disagree with you, by the way. You don't give yourself enough credit. But we had some players that could play, and that were actually, D1 caliber, but they didn't go D1.
Right.
And you talk about AAU. I didn't even know Dre. I didn't even know AAU existed. And Ryan, you can chime in whenever you want. I didn't even know AAU existed, bro.
Right.
Hey, that's another thing I wanted to hit on too. See, because Joe and Dre both said that like we never had exposure to any of that kind of stuff. If you remember, Coach Carter put us in the summer league, and what we played like 2 or 3 games that one year.
Yeah.
Like we never had opportunities to like get better, and I mean besides practice against each other, but we never played in any AAU tournaments, any summer league. Like I didn't know AAU existed either, Cephas, to tell you the truth. But I think we played 2 or 3 games in the summer league with Coach Carter, and that was it. Like we didn't get exposed to that kind of stuff, man. Like I don't know, man. It's looking back on it, I think about it all the time. And Dre, I definitely disagree with you. You was D1, man. Stop playing.
Right.
Stop playing, man.
Now, hold on. Wait a minute now. We were for this opportunity. He's put us in Grosse Pointe South. And none of us can understand why we was playing in Grosse Pointe South when we played Persian, when we played Denby, Southeastern, Kettering, and all that. We weren't understanding why we were at Grosse Pointe South. Carter came in and did bring us to St. Cecilia that one year, my senior year. And that was what we wanted to do. I don't even know if you guys even knew it. I think I told you guys, but I was going to St. Rita playing. I got to play with Rashard Phillips one night, and that was crazy. And St. Rita, almost every high school student was there except for us. And it was like you just got there. It was a piece of paper you signed up on, and you just played with whoever. FCOC, I was there. I would go to Bible studies on Wednesday nights, and then I'll be at FCOC playing against some of the old heads there. But going back to the coaching thing.
But Grosse Pointe, Joe, that was Grosse Pointe. Because I remember playing there too. You know what I'm saying? But Grosse Pointe, that was like a scrimmage situation. That wasn't AAU. And Ryan,
it wasn't AAU. It wasn't AAU, but what it was something to give us a little bit more playing. When we was doing our little high school thing. So that was the coaches trying to give us a little bit more. I mean, because this was team building for us to play and everything else, but I think we could have got more out of it playing against the caliber of what we was going to get used to. We did well at Grosse Pointe South, and then we played Persian, and Persian is pressing all game long. These are some big boys. I mean, let's think about it. Wimp was supposed to go to Syracuse. He wound up going to Fresno. These guys was going D. I mean, it was said if you was going to Persian, you was going D1.
Right.
So that's why Persian was chosen.
Ryan, when you want to chime in,
what, Joe, and I forgot.
But we're getting a huge echo from your mic, so go ahead and mute right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, Joe, I actually forgot about that. We did play there, but like you said, that wasn't. It was something for us to do, and I actually forgot about it because it was my freshman year, but. Like you say, when we get to playing against Persians and Dembies, but it was something to do. Blakey did have us doing that. But when I look back at our high school experience on the basketball team, it was just like we talked about earlier. It never seemed like they were trying to bring the best out of us. I mean, I'm talking about no coach I had. I can't speak for nobody else. It was always just yell, scream. If you're not doing this, like I said, do it. I was afraid to just really play my game at times, but that's how I go sometimes.
Right. Go ahead, mute for me real quick. Go ahead, Dre. Yep.
Yeah. So I was going to speak on that too. I remember the summer leagues. I think, and I think, Joe, you were leaning there when you start talking about quality of summer opportunity. So, and you got to remember, and I appreciate what you all are saying in terms of what y'all thought about me, but you got to remember, Joe, we are from the era of size gets you opportunity. So the FCOCs and all of that. And this isn't of course, you know me. It's not a hate thing, but it's cool you were able to get exposed to that stuff. But that's not really the same stuff we knew. I can't speak for a lot of that. I would hear from it kicking it with you mostly. I actually met the cats from that played for Notre Dame, your homeboys. The guards, light skin, dark skin cat. I learned about them fooling with you. But when you think about the quality of the competition, like Carter that summer took us down to Wayne State University. That was a hell of a run. We went to St. Rita. That was a hell of a run. And it makes you turn your game up because steel sharpens steel, right? So while those experiences were good in terms of teaching us X and O's, that's why I go back to that. Blake was an amazing X and O's guy. And if you go to Grosse Pointe South, you're playing against guys that play X and O's. But when you go play Finney, and my man like shoot that, take him, and that pressure is coming at you at a different level. We weren't always up to it. We were just athletic enough and talented enough to stay in games, but we weren't. But we weren't up to. We didn't quite understand that level of ball. And again, some of the things that happen within that, some of the team dynamic. Like if you think about the 4 or 5 guys you got on here right now, there was never a lick of hate here. So we can speak to that part. If there's something I didn't like about Osborne, as one person started to rise, other people started to. This kid not credit friendly, but they start shitting on you. I remember as I would go. I remember going, dog. C-Town got a game, and I remember going, hey, who do they think he is? I'm like, no, that dude got game. Joe can have a good game, and that the last shot we're at the end of a game against Kettering, and the last shot is drawn up not for the person that took the shot, but for the person that we need to get the ball to. But that
You went out.
Yeah, am I
There
back?
you go.
Yeah, that was Mike Carter calling. But
Nah, that was
okay.
Ernest McCullough blocking that because he didn't want you to tell that story. That was Ernest McCullough hating coming through this conversation. Yeah, I'm dropping his name, Ernest McCullough. Yeah, boy, Ernest McCullough. I'm dropping that name. Yes, I said it.
Check it real quick. Real quick. Let me just say this real quick. Hey, those of you that are watching, guys, make sure that you go and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. And also too, make sure you share this information because this is good. If you got questions, make sure you just pop them in the box, and we can ask these guys some questions or whatnot, and we can get you some answers. But I see one guy this just popped in. I don't even know who this is. Justin, what's up, man?
Hey.
Who are you?
I'm Joe's son.
You Joe's son. Oh, okay, that's what's. I can see the resemblance. That's what's up. Hey, just out of curiosity, how old are you?
I'm 13, about to be 14.
How tall are you?
6'2".
That's so unfair. That is so unfair. That is so unfair, dog. Joe, you over here building giants, man. What's up, bro? Yeah, we'll let you hang out. Go ahead, Dre.
Yeah, but no, man, if you think about it, we team building, that was another thing that was huge. Like it should have never, I remember at one point it felt like it was the 98s against the 99s. It should have never felt like that. Like talent is talent, game is game. But those lessons are things I try to put into my own kid. Sometimes it's somebody else's time to shine. And you got to be able to take that if you're going to be a team. You know what I mean?
Right.
So even with that, the things that I would put in my kid to just kind of full circle it back to what this is about in terms of the right school for your kid. First off, with coaching, you have to pay attention to that coach in terms of the player development, what they're doing to make that kid better every day, every season. What are they doing to try to develop that kid? But the other thing is that team dynamic. If the 15 guys that could play on our team, there's no way there's a gym full of 500 and we didn't have 15 guys that could hoop. We could hoop. It was 500 dudes in the gym, and 15 guys were making the squad. I don't care if you were the first number 1 guy or the number 15 guy. If you made the PSL in the 90s, you could play basketball. You know what I mean? So, but if you don't know how to be a team, if you're not a team, man, we had a lot of individuals, but we didn't really have a full team. And I think by the end of my junior year, that's kind of when that's when they kind of start eating at me, and I just went, what is this worth? The torn rotator cuffs, the rolled ankles, the bathtub at night because you ran 39 suicides. What was it all for? And I kind of lost that fire at a point. And before I let that happen to my kid, I would pull him. My dad says it all the time. He'd have pulled me after my 9th grade year, if he could do it all over again. So I do think about things like that, and that's not really a knock on the school. I'm glad he didn't, because I wouldn't be sitting here with y'all, man. That means more to me than the ball thing, because if it was supposed to happen for me, it would have. But just knowing moving forward, loving the game the way I do, and the fact that I got a kid that love it the way I do, those things matter to me for real now. Because I know my experience, my kid won't have that one,
Right. Go ahead, Joe. That's good stuff, Dre.
Now, if one thing that we ain't touch on, since you want to talk about coaching and things of that nature, if you remember playing at Osborne, I saw that at Cass Tech a little bit too. I played on a top 20 ranked junior college team before I went D1. And I visited a lot of D1s. One of the bad things that I'll say that I didn't like, if you remember, they had a lot of criticism, and it wasn't healthy criticism. They made a lot of jokes, inappropriate, talk to us a certain way. They treated us like men at one point, then like children at another point. And we didn't develop right because, it's inconsistent coaching. One moment they're your best friends, then the next moment they talking trash about you. Like, like some little girls or whatever, you know.
Right.
I remember
Right.
it would be days. I don't know if you remember, Dre, when Blakely would be like, I'm on my period. Don't start with me today. Like, dude, for real? Like, I want to hear that before you start practice. You on your period? Like, we grown men. You 6'5", 300 pounds, 10% body fat, and you talking about you on your period, bro. You know, he let personal issues, if y'all remember his personal issue he had with the light skin, come into
Right.
practice as well.
Right.
But
It's
you know,
good.
that stuff right there, that comes into a big issue in your development as a player when you have
Right.
coaches that talk to you a certain way. You know, I mean, what they made fun of. I don't know if you remember Monkey Hops. They was making fun of his weed usage and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, you can't be a certain way. You either
Right.
gonna be consistent and be a coach and be a leader, or you're gonna be my best friend. And then if you're my best friend, when you come to coach me a certain way, I look at you like, yo, who you talking to? Like, we was just laughing and joking and talking about stuff like
Right.
we had no business. I think if you're gonna be a good coach,
Right.
you gotta be like a parent to a child, not to a child, but to your player. You gotta, when I say be a parent, I mean like you gotta have that certain level of respect where y'all don't cross certain lines. You know, I played with coaches.
Right.
We didn't cross certain lines. Like I wasn't talking to Harv, and Harv wouldn't call it went MF me and call me, you know, little pet names or whatever like that. You know, my coach at Northland Pioneer never did that stuff. You know, he told me, hey, big fella, you know, we got to get it together. And that was like pretty
Right.
much it. And I knew what I needed to do at that point. It's just like your mom. If you're doing something you ain't got no business, you doing too much talking, she like, yo, Cephas, and you gonna stop. You know, and it was just that simple. But with those guys, I felt they was inappropriate. Looking back upon it, we thought it, I mean, you may have felt it was cool at that point, but looking upon it now, I feel it's inappropriate. And I won't want my child to have a relationship with his coach like that. Like, dude, no, you got to have boundaries. You have to have boundaries if you're gonna lead. Leaders have boundaries. You know, they had their right hand man, but they had a certain respect to where you felt a certain way. I mean, we was players against coaches because we just felt like Dre said, dude, we was a track team. I don't remember the night that we did tip drill for like 50 million years. I mean, we made fun of Terry Pross when he used to throw the ball at Terry Pross. Remember that cannonball? Boom! Like, dude, you know, just, you know, but certain things just were inappropriate there. We could have been better. We could have developed better, but there was a lot of inappropriate things that I think hindered us that we didn't notice. We didn't notice. We notice now as grown men, as Dre said, as you said, you guys can help kind of coach, teach, and be there. You know,
Right.
So, I mean, now you have knowledge to not let that mistake happen again. So if the mistake happens again at this point, it's shame on you.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, we're actually talking about making sure that you do your research to ensure that that your kid is at the right high school. And, you know, what I would say is that, first of all, as a parent, you definitely should do your research. You should definitely, if you're thinking about going to a high school, you should start, you know, go for a visit at the high school, you know, and maybe start going to some events to check out the coaching staff and things like that. Talk to a few people, talk to some parents, and just do your research and engage your decision based off of the feedback that you're receiving. Because I think that's super important. And, you know, and Joe, you said some key things too, that, you know, it wasn't always, you know, how they talk to, you know, joke with us inappropriately and things like that. But, you know, some of us felt like when they would joke with you individually, like that, we felt that we were accepted. We felt that we were in, you know, because I remember him having certain relationships with certain players. But what did it for me is that, and I didn't find this out until after I graduated, but I remember in the game as a senior, and if you can remember, Ryan, you know, Dre, you probably remember too, you know, our senior year, we started out pretty good. We had a nice squad. You know what I'm saying? When we came out, we beat Denby, and, you know, Ryan was coming off the bench, putting up, you know, 14, darn near, you know, 20 points a game. And he really shouldn't have been coming off the bench. That's just my personal
double. I was averaging a double.
Right. You know, but just to say though, like, you know, that's just goes to show you right there. But Ryan really shouldn't have been coming off the bench. You know, actually, to me, like, just to talk about, well, I'll say, well, we'll talk about the talent in a minute. But when they joke with you like that, you kind of felt. And so what happened was that I can remember in my senior year, we was playing Finney, and we had ran the play, and I came off of a screen wide open under the basket, and this individual, he looked right at me, but he didn't throw me the ball, and he drove the ball to the rim and missed the layup. Then I was like, wow, that was weird. So I didn't find out until, and I noticed that during that game, they wasn't, really swinging me the ball, these certain individuals. And so, but I didn't find out until after I graduated. It was that Coach Blakey, and I say his name, and I talk to him, and I tell him like a man to his face. And I called him a few times, to even try to develop a relationship with the dude after I graduated, but that wasn't welcomed. But he told those guys not to pass me the ball, and so like, and when I think back on it, I was just like, wow, like why? You know what I'm saying? Like what's the deal? And really, and that's exactly what happened. So like, you want to really try to avoid as much as possible your child being in a situation where a coach, is taking, taking shots at the kid, or just not allowing them to be themselves, athletically. And you just want to try to avoid that situation. The only way that you're going to do that is if you do your research. Ryan, you got anything you want to say, bro?
Yeah, I do. I want to go back to what Joe was saying, because that's very true. I actually forgot about that. I had a different kind of relationship with Coach Blakey. It was, he would pull me in his office, say, come here. And, like, you would think we were the best of friends. But on the court, it was another thing. And like Joe said, that's not a good situation to be in. I mean, even if you have a buddy relationship with your coach, that's cool. But when I get on the court, and if I do the smallest thing, it's you cussing at me, and you yanking me out the game, and I don't go back in the game for a quarter and a half, like, that's never a good relationship to have with your coach, and that's not a good situation to be in. So like y'all said, it's always good to do your research. I mean, I'm a coach. I don't coach now, but I've coached middle school kids, and I coached the recreational center kids or whatever. But
right.
And I did it for, I think, about a good 6-7 years before I had to stop because of work. But you cannot have that type of relationship with your kids. That's not a good situation for any kid to be in with their coach.
Right.
If it's cool to have a good relationship with the coach, but now when I'm on the court, now I'm a good relationship off the court to baby me on the court or whatever, but it's any small thing I do wrong is, oh, this and that. Like I say, I've plenty of times Blake will pull me out of the game and I wouldn't play for the whole rest of the first half. And then, like you said earlier, I got moved to the bench. Why, I don't know, but hey, I did my thing coming off the bench. But yeah, you got to do your research. And I just think, I mean, any kid that's trying to play basketball, football, whatever it is, I feel my opinion, it's always best to go somewhere where you're going to get exposure, where you're going to be seen. If you're really trying to go far in, whatever sports you're playing. We didn't get opportunities at Osborne like that. Not in my opinion. I got a scholarship to go to California. I got a scholarship to go to California because somebody came to see it. They didn't come to see. That's how I ended up going to California. So
wait, say that again. Say that again, Brian. We lost.
Can you hear me?
Say that again. Say that again, Brian. We lost you.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
I say I got a scholarship to go to California because of Mallet. He wasn't coming to see me. It was somebody there to see Mallet, and he just happened to see me in the gym and say, hey, hold on, who is that? And that's how I ended up in California, So, I mean, we didn't get a lot of looks, and we got looks if we were going to play Persian or Denby or Finney or Southeastern, where the guys that were getting looks were playing at. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's very important for the parents to do the research when it comes to sending their kid to a certain program.
Right.
But being the player, like I told you, our first
go ahead, mute.
idea was to go to Kettering. That was the first idea, was to go to Kettering as an AAU team, because I mean Kettering was probably the worst high school back in '94, one of the worst ones. So we Terry Payne, we could go in and run the Kettering. We knew we was gonna go in, probably start as freshmen or whatever like that. We actually played Highland Park Summer League before we even went to high school. And we was giving Highland, Southfield, Lathrop, and all these other teams that had Mike Chappelle and all them a run for their money until one of the coaches figured out we was high school kids and was like, yo, middle school kids. They're like, yo, these kids ain't even started high school yet. And then when they found that out, they was putting a foot to us. But, I mean, we had better opportunities, but we thought going to Kettering, it was an opportunity to be something, to turn it into something, to make it our own.
Right.
So, I mean, that was the main, that was the main thing, because that's where we wanted to go. I mean, we had the whole team. We was trying to, I guess you say, cheat almost by having a whole squad coming together that had been playing together since, 7th, 8th grade. Then you go on freshman, we wanted to be that.
Right.
So, I mean, like you said, you do your research and everything, but sometimes that allure of being the first to be something is a great thing, man. It's a great drug to try to do something, to accomplish. Like you said, you didn't want to go to Denby and be trying to survive there. You didn't want to go to Persian.
Right.
It was like at the Bourne, we had a chance, we had opportunity. How we probably had better coaching. Maybe we might have found out we weren't as good as we thought we were. Maybe we found out that we were better than what we thought we was. As always, that question. I love playing with you guys. You guys was great. I never felt any animosity or anything where, like, if I was having a good game, Cass was like, oh, I hope he screw up so I can get my chance to shine or anything like that. I always felt like, I was always dependent upon you guys. And I thought you guys were a great teammates,
Right.
I wouldn't change you guys for nothing. I changed that coaching staff, but you guys, nah, I think I could have won with you guys. I would have been in the trenches with you guys any day.
Yeah.
I still feel the same way. Now, I know we didn't keep in contact and stuff, but nonetheless, y'all still was my mans and them. Although I'm still mad at Dre for telling that little secret to my kid's mom. I don't appreciate that, Andre. You could have kept that to yourself.
You might have to inbox me on the side of that one. I don't even remember.
The Carter story. The Lawrence Carter story. You know the Lawrence Carter story. You told her about that. It was only one big Lawrence Carter story towards the end of the year.
Oh, the broom?
The reason why Lawrence Carter wound up leaving us. Yeah. Thanks a lot, buddy. I appreciate that. Not. Steve, you remember that one?
Look,
Yeah. Look.
So-
At the end, look, bro. Hey, like I
But
said,
check this
this
out.
is what. Go ahead, Dre.
That and even as an adult, I ended up taking a graduate school class with Carter, man. But and we ended up kind of talking and hashing it out. But I
lost
walked
it,
away
though.
at that point. Yeah, I walked away. I was like,
He lost
that's
it.
it.
He lost it, and I you know what? And my thing is that, like, hey, this is our platform, but we trying to help kids and parents not get in that situation. When he put his hands on Joe, what I'm saying, we all lost it, man. Like, come on, man, it wasn't that deep. It wasn't that deep, man. And so, like, that's the type of situation that we was in. And just from and Joe, I appreciate you saying that, because I agree with you. Like the friendship, the camaraderie that we had, it was second to none. And you can feel like we thought that we knew that we had talent between ourselves. We knew that. It was to a point like, hey, man, forget what the coach said, bro. Let's just go ahead. We knew that, but I knew something was wrong when I was on JV, when I made JV squad, and there's a whole row of us, and Dre was, on the bench with me, and he was a year in the grade before me, but he should have been starting over Emmett, over one-arm Emmett. I remember that, and dude could only dribble with one hand, what I'm saying? But Dre was an all-around basketball player, a true point guard, what I'm saying? And so I'm just thinking, like, wow, like I have no chance here. So, from a talent perspective, the talent was there. And I want everybody to understand, like, even those, like, the people that's checking in from other high schools or whatever from around, it was never, ever a situation where we didn't have the talent. We have the talent. And if we were allowed to play like we knew that we could play, we could have bumped with anyone. I felt like Joe got cut short because I felt like he was never allowed to be that dominant force like we knew that he could be. I felt like he could be that, you know what I'm saying? And I knew that. He knew that. But he was never allowed or put into a situation for success in that round. Ryan, he's being brought off the bench, but I know Ryan personally, and we grew up together at the Boys and Girls Club, and I watched him develop. And I remember when he started dunking, Ryan was a 25-30 guy. He could put the ball in the bucket. I remember he came. I remember we had a tryout. I don't know what grade it was, but we had a tryout. I think we was trying out for varsity. Ryan came in there and went crazy at the tryout. You know what I'm saying? But that's the type of player he was. He wasn't a center. Ryan could have played the 2 and the 3, and he would give you 20, 25, and 30 on a good night. You know what I mean? So like we had the talent, man. It was there. You know what I'm saying? And then when Mallet came, that was just like the icing on the cake. And when you were playing around better players, like, it just made you want to become better. When Mallet came and I saw how high he was getting off the ground off his jump shot, that made me want to jump and shoot. You know what I'm saying? And so I added that element to my game. So, the animosity and things like that, we wanted to win. It wasn't never about that, man. But unfortunately, it was the coaches. Now, and I'm gonna tell you, but there was one coach that came through Osborne that topped them all, and I don't think he ever get talked about. But it was Coach Stanton. I think he was the best coach that I ever encountered at Osborne. And I think Mike Carter had brought him in. Joe know what I'm talking about. He brought him in, man.
He was a good coach, C-Tom.
Excellent coach.
He definitely was. He definitely was.
He knew his stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, he took our team. He saw what, Coach Carter was trying to do. He came into a practice like, nah, coach, you gotta do this. You gotta put these pieces over here. He could put the ball in the bucket. He could do this. And we was bumping. We came out and beat Southeastern.
And Coach Carter didn't want to listen to him. Remember that?
Yep.
He had a hard time listening to what he was
I remember that.
telling him.
I remember that. Joe, you remember Coach Stanton, bro?
Yo, that cat was hilarious, man. Yo, I remember. Yo, on a funny note, I don't know if y'all remember when he called Marlo messing with us, and he grabbed that pipe from the leg machine. Because remember, Marlo used to pull his pants down and stand there and be in front of coach, and everybody had to look at his tail.
I definitely
sat and grabbed that pipe.
Remember that.
Like, oh, you want to show everybody something? Come here, boy. He took off running. Yo, I used to get so mad at G-Bo for that, man. Right. Yo, he stand there right in front of coach, but no, he was most definitely, and that's just somebody who knew some stuff. But again, he kept a certain relationship with us too. He joked with us, but he joked to a certain extent. It never got to a thing where he was cussing and fussing a certain way. I mean, he was even killed. You knew exactly where you stood with him.
Right.
If you guys remember, how much of a green light Raynard and Daryl Lockhart had.
Right.
And I'm like, we had way better talent, and then you guys question your roles there. And I'm like, dude, Daryl Lockhart turned the ball over how many flipping times? Yo, that cat used
50 times a game.
Dribble into a trap and just give it up. You know what I'm saying? And it was just, and then like you guys, like I said, much better talent. I waited for you guys to move up in the ranks to come up there with us. And it was just like, dude, are you serious? Like, why are you making life a hell for them? Like, let them guys play. Let's play and have fun. I mean, it sucks to lose because you have to hear people. Because I wound up playing with cats from Denby. I wound up seeing cats across. In the MAC conference, there was a lot of cats from Detroit, and they were like, "Yo, that's that dude from Osborne." Like, yo, don't be somebody talking about my school like that, dog. Like for real, like seriously. But it was just one of them things. I just pray kids the best, and that maybe this helps some kids to not have those shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and the worst thing ever. I don't know if y'all remember the one year we played varsity, they didn't wash our uniforms. Cats still tease me about that till this day. They still tease me
I
to this
definitely
day.
remember
Like,
that
yo,
one.
y'all stink so bad, bro. I'm like, for real. We 40 years old and cats still bring up them stinking jerseys.
Oh my God, that was terrible. That was terrible, man. Go ahead, Dre.
if I can have, like, if you got young fellas on here or high school kids on here, and even especially parents, I know they keep writing me off and saying I'm modest, but listen, one of the biggest things I see, and I saw when I was coaching myself, is when the parent comes to you inquiring about your program and what you bring to the table, what you could do for the kid, and the kid is not the player that the parent thinks they are.
Right.
So look yourself in the mirror and make sure you know what your kid, who your kid is, before you try to walk him up to Dakota and demand that he should be playing at Dakota, or you walk him over to Persian and demand that he should be getting minutes there, or you say, hey, he should be playing for the family. You gotta know your kid, and you gotta know where he is or where she is, and remember that they are kids. People develop. I remember when, and this is no diss, I remember Ryan in the 9th grade, and I remember not saying much to Ryan. And I remember Ryan in the 11th grade, and I was like, who the hell is that? And it was the same guy. And it don't always happen. It don't always happen that fast.
It don't always happen that fast.
Yeah.
So you gotta know where you are. Teach your kid how to keep developing his game. We know things about the game now because we played for so long that we can continue to develop our kids and their skills regardless of who's around. But you still want that coach to still be able to pour into them as well. So, but make sure you are being real with yourself. Don't make this a American Idol thing where you let your kid go up there and sing, and everybody watching on TV laughing because he can't really sing. So be real. So be real with yourself as you're doing your research as well.
And I think that's a great point, and I talked about that on one of my videos before. But if you're a single mom, you know what I mean, and you feel like you got a child that can play, get a second opinion. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're, single pops and you're really not into this, the sports or whatever, you don't know, get with somebody that really knows and get their opinion. You know what I mean? And then that will give you a better gauge too, guys. We're at the end, so any last words? That's it's open for anybody.
Yeah, I want to say we got to do this again. See, it's a lot of stuff I wanted to say, but I'm sitting here like a fan. I'm enjoying all these stories from y'all, but I just want to say, man, some of my best friends, me and Joe Veal used to live 1 block away from each other. We walked home from basketball practice every night down 7 Mile. He lived on Goldburn. I lived on West Philly. I ain't talked to Joe in a long time, but that was my guy. I still talk to you all the time, Marlo, Mallet. Like, I met some of my best friends at Osborne on that basketball team, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, man. I talked to Dre on Facebook, but we need to do this again, man, when we all sitting in the same room or something, because I got a lot of stuff I didn't get to say. And I don't want your viewers to think I'm crazy. I'm sitting in my car. I pulled up from work, and because Cephas is my guy, I just stayed outside in the park in my driveway. I'm in the car. I'm not crazy. But yeah, man, this was beautiful, man. I was sitting here like a fan listening to you talk, man. This was beautiful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, yes, sir. I got something to say. I've been out of Michigan for a while. I'm mad at y'all that y'all let Ernest McCullough go back and take them reins to Osborne. When I found that out, I wanted to kill every last one of y'all for letting that happen.
What'd he do?
Because I heard he had got the coaching job.
Oh, he got the
I heard he had got the coaching job over at the Bourne. And when I found that out, I wanted to kill every last one of y'all that y'all let that happen. I wasn't there to protect the home. And I mean, that bum, him, Terry Pross, and any one of them two, I couldn't. I was really, really disappointed in y'all that y'all let that bum come back and take them reins. I'm mad that neither one of y'all have went back and taken them reins. I would have thought one of us would have got it throughout the years. So, but it's good to see you guys. I'm glad to hear from you. Good to see that y'all doing well. Facebook has always been a good friend to kind of keep up with you, even though we ain't been keeping up. Thank you, Cephas, for this. Like I said, I love the Bourne, loved you guys. Yeah, I was afforded a little different opportunities because of the height. But, nonetheless, I would still choose the Bourne all over again.
For sure. Yes, sir. Dre, you got anything, baby?
Hey, man, as much as we are still, even in our well past our prime playing time, still think about what could have been, I couldn't have changed Osborne. I wouldn't be the man I am today. The relationships meant everything. You know, I pour all the stuff that I learned from all of you into my own kids. You know, and it's funny, quick story. I'm not even gonna get deep into it. I started teaching at Osborne in 2006, 2007, and there was this kid that could just really fill it up. And it might have been 2006, 2007, but I was teaching there, and this kid could really go. And then I said, "Hey, who's that kid right there?" And I think the kid's name was like Randy Haggen. How about that? You know, he wasn't 6'5", but he had sauce. And
Randy was cold.
Yeah, it comes full circle. I said, "That's what's up, man." So,
But hey,
you know,
but another boys and girls.
I'm gonna make sure he watched this so he can hear you say that.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'd be remiss not to get on here and say, rest in peace to my boy in my heart, Rob Ellsbury, man.
For sure.
So, you know,
Yeah.
Oh, most
Yeah,
definitely.
that was
I
my
totally
guy, man.
forgot about that, man. That was
Yeah.
me and Rob used to go and shoot pool every day, man. Oh man, Rob Ellsbury. We
Rob
used to go to
Asbury.
pool
That
all.
was his name. Rob Asbury.
Asbury. Man.
Yeah, that you
So-
know,
so
that,
no,
that whole
yeah, y'all were a special group, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate those kind words, fellas. And you know, rest in peace, Rob Ellsbury. You know, he was my motivation because dude was dunking. I believe he was dunking in like the 10th grade with two hands. You know what I'm saying? Calves like, you know, like grapefruit. You know what I mean? Like huge calves. You know what I'm saying? And you know, he motivated me, and you know, and all you guys did, man. And so I'm thankful for the relationships that was built over time and things like that. And Joe, I didn't, you know, about Ernest, you know, actually, you know, funny story about Ernest is that when I first came to Osborne, and I almost left Osborne too after my 9th grade year because I got robbed before going to practice at the gas station across the street. But yeah, I got robbed for my coat. You remember that? I got robbed for my coat, my shoes, and my hat.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that, C-Town.
I remember
Terrible,
Quentin
man.
at the door. I remember Quentin getting robbed on his way to practice that one morning. I never knew you got robbed too.
Yeah, bro. And when I was in 9th grade, they robbed me, man. Like it was crazy. Like I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? You know? But funny story though, when I came to Osborne, 9th grade, we was getting ready to try out and everything, and Ernest was walking around like he had mad game, and I was just like, man, he must that dude must go. And
You would have thought he was Michael Jordan.
Right. You know, and you know, he had a mouthpiece on him too. And the thing is you know, he was marking his territory and I guess, you know, doing the intimidation thing, but he always, you know, thought he was better than everybody. But I've seen Ernest and I came in contact with him on multiple occasions. And he's the same way. And you know, but him and I, you know, we did end up having conversations while I was at Osborne, but when I saw him as an adult and, you know, in passing and things like that, you know, I was like, you know, what's up? It was just like a real cold type situation there. And I didn't understand that, but I just left that alone, you know, but I didn't know that he was getting the job, you know, whatnot, but you know, it would be nice, you know, if any of us would have landed the job, but I'm not sure, you know, if we could have done anything in that type of situation, because a lot of those kids that come through Osborne, you know, they're going through a lot, man, and they need more than a coach, you know. So just like you were saying, I don't know who was saying it, but like, you know, when you're coaching these guys, you are some form of a parent, and you spending more time with them than their own parents are, you know, to a certain level degree. Dre, you know this. Dre, you know, a principal now, you know what I'm saying? And so like, and you know, and I know it's kind of hard from you sometimes to watch the whole basketball thing and not want to go down and say something and things like that. And so, you know, I wouldn't want to be in that situation, bro. But at the end of the day, though, man, like, you know, I'm real grateful for the relationships, you know, parents and players, you know, and even coaches. Parents, please do your research. Make sure your kids are in the right hands. And coaches, you know, let's be coaches. Take the personal stuff out of it. You know, I know it's a lot, you know, dealing with different kids, that were raised differently, different attitudes, different character, and things like that. It's not an easy situation. But don't jump into that job if it's not something that you love, because if it's not something that you love, then what end up happening is that you end up running into these scenarios that you heard in this particular show. So everybody out there, make sure that you stay tapped in with us. We're gonna do this again. I hear you, Ryan. We're gonna do this again. If you guys got ideas that we can come back on here and talk about some stuff, I'm down with that. I'm down with that. I welcome all that. So let me know.
Whatever you want to talk about, we can talk about it.
Hey, maybe you can, I don't know, like if you have a website or something, maybe find some way to put information up and get some links out so people can find out about the different things like AAU and the stuff like that. Because we did minorly touch on that earlier about different things. And as y'all stated, a lot of kids that you guys didn't know about those type of opportunities and stuff. So maybe finding a way to get those kids those type of opportunities, because obviously those extra things that you do lead to being better in your high school as well, which can lead to you having more playing time and all those things. I mean, as many games as you can get under your belt. I mean, I played for 4 teams at one point in time. So, I mean, you got to do what you got to do to try to keep up and try to get ahead. So, I mean, whatever information and just some, so kids can have that stuff and they can keep improving themselves.
Absolutely. Fellas, make sure y'all stay.
Hey, Cephas, can I say one more thing, Cephas?
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Ryan.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Ryan.
To any of the kids that's listening right now, it don't matter what situation you end up in, you always have to put the work in. So I want y'all to know that. It don't matter where you're at. If you're at the top school or the lowest level school, put the work in, because it's up to you. Ultimately, it's up to you ultimately. So put the work in. No matter the situation, the coach, none of that.
Hey, Ryan, tell them if it wasn't for the Boys and Girls Club.
Hey, that's why I started putting all my work in the neighborhood and then the Boys and Girls Club, and it just went on to Osborne.
Yeah, man. We had some days where we down.
The Boys and Girls Club, that was epic, man.
Yeah, 100. It's a lot of great ball players that came to the club.
We still sit around, me and some of the guys, we still sit around and talk about to this day, man. The Boys and Girls Club. You got to put the work in.
Right.
Yes, sir. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming in, and all of you that tuned in. Hopefully, you got a chance to subscribe to the channel. Check out my channel. I got some other videos out there, football, basketball, talking about all this stuff, and we got other interviews and things like that. We go live every Thursday at 7 p.m. I'm going live next week, and I got a good one next week. I got my guy Chuck Bailey that's gonna come on. He at one point he was one of the coaches at the family and whatnot. He also played at University of Michigan. So he gonna come on and he gonna talk a little bit to us on next week. And hopefully I know he gonna drop some nuggets. So make sure y'all stay tapped in with me. If you want to know anything about recruiting and how it is on the inside, make sure you stay tapped in with your boy. Thanks, everybody.